Every so often, there comes along a figure that's larger than life. Somebody whose impact transcends far beyond, whatever their job title may be, whatever it is that they may do on a daily basis. And they reach out and they connect and they influence people that they've never even met. And on Monday, we lost one of those figures. John Thompson was literally and figuratively larger than life. At 6'10", it was impossible to not notice him standing on the sidelines, whether during his days as a coach, his post-coaching days as a commentator. He was that guy that was like a father or grandfather figure. Like I said, for members of the community, of the basketball community, members of the black community, members of the culture of basketball that had never even met him, but his impact reached far beyond Washington, D.C. and reached far beyond Georgetown basketball. John Thompson is D.C. basketball. John Thompson is Georgetown basketball. When you think about the legacy that he had, he played and grew up in the D.C. area. He went on, played college basketball at Providence, was drafted in the 3rd round by the Boston Celtics, where he spent 2 seasons and won 2 NBA championships. Returning from there, he came and he coached at St. Anthony in Washington, D.C., and had a marvelous run over his time there, and then 27 years as the head coach for Georgetown basketball. When you look at the things that he accomplished at Georgetown basketball, from being the first black coach to win a Division I championship in 1984, 1985 NABC Coach of the Year, 3-time Big East Coach of the Year, 1990, 1987, and 1992. He's a member of not only the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, but the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame as well. The things that he did on the court as a player, on the court as a coach, behind closed doors as a mentor, as a leader, in front of the camera, as a mentor, as a leader, in coaching circles, the things that he did transcended the basketball court. They reached far beyond just basketball. When you talk about being more than just a recruiter, more than just a coach, more than just an athlete, John Thompson is the epitome of those words. Under Coach John Thompson's leadership, Georgetown basketball produced 4 Hall of Famers: Patrick Ewing, Dikembe Mutombo, Alonzo Mourning, and Allen Iverson. During his 27 years at the helm of the Georgetown basketball program, he won 7 Big East regular season championships, 6 Big East tournament championships, appeared in 20 NCAA tournaments, 8 Sweet 16s, and 3 Final Fours. By anybody's standard, that's a legendary career on the court. Notably seen with his classic white towel, Coach John Thompson represented an elite level of basketball nationwide. When you think about it, you look at the effect he had on the culture. And when I say culture, we all know that basketball transcends the 94 feet that it's played on. It has a prominent role in musical culture, has a prominent role in theatrical culture. Your movies are made about basketball, rap songs are made about basketball. And John Thompson, his legacy and his impact and imprint on the game of basketball transcended beyond and connected with those different avenues. I think back on it, and one of my favorite movies, Above the Rim, and I think about Kylie Watson and how badly he wanted to go to Georgetown and play for John Thompson, and that was the threat that Tupac made against him, that he wasn't going to Georgetown or anywhere if he didn't do what Birdman wanted him to do. Which was, when you think about it, you think about the way that the culture had shifted and things that happened behind closed doors in basketball. Art imitates life, and you think about the conversation that the drug dealer in that movie, Birdie, played by Tupac, had with Kylie Watson about how he was going to play for him in these pickup games. It has a direct connection to Rayful Edmonds and the ties that he had with members of the Georgetown basketball team when John Thompson confronted him and said that he was to have nothing to do with his players or his program. and didn't say it in a friendly or kind way. So, you look at, Jesus Shuttlesworth, and he got game. I remember, him getting recruited by John Thompson. So, the impact and the imprint that Coach Thompson and Georgetown had, it was well beyond the DMV. It was well beyond DC. It was well beyond, just your casual basketball fans. He's a legend in many different interpretations of the word. I said before that John Thompson was larger than life. Well, to me and people that look like me within the basketball industry, John Thompson was a walking superhero. He was that person that we could look to as motivation, inspiration. We could look to we could look to his record of success. We could look to his willingness to speak out for change. He spoke out against racial inequality long before it was popular. Long before there was coaches groups and Zoom meetings and seminars and things of that nature to show support. He knew what was right and what was wrong, and he spoke out against the wrongs and spoke forward for the rights, and didn't too much worry about whether that put him in a negative situation or caused him trouble or caused others to dislike him. He spoke for what was right. And because of that, he created a platform in which now guys have voices. He was so far ahead of his time from that regard. You think about back in January of 1989 when he historically tossed his white towel to an assistant coach and walked off the floor in protest of NCAA rule Prop 48. Prop 48 was a rule that said that student athletes that didn't meet the academic criteria wouldn't be allowed to participate athletically in games during their freshman year. And the study showed that that affected roughly 600 student athletes for the past year. That would have hindered their ability to play, and 90% of those student athletes were young black men. And John Thompson wasn't standing for it, and he refused to just go along to get along. And because of him, it's on his shoulders that coaches now stand on. He provided a voice. He walked so black coaches can run. The black coaches of today are in a much better place because of the existence and because of the example and because of the times where John Thompson stood up and spoke out, even though it was uncomfortable, or even though it was coming with scrutiny, or it was coming with negativity. He did that because he knew that it was necessary, it was needed, and it was a requirement. To whom much is given, much is required. So when I think about John Thompson, it so accurately aligns with this series that I started of More Than Just a Recruiter. And it reminds me that no matter how much I'm doing, I've got to do more and I've got to go further. And because of him, I'm going to launch a couple new series. And those series are going to be the daily More Than Just a Recruiter assistant coach spotlight. We're going to make sure that who these guys are on a daily basis. We're going to talk about somebody on the men's side and on the women's side. We're going to talk about somebody that's more than just a recruiter, that deserves recognition, that deserves our support and our love. Because of John Thompson, I'm going to roll out what's called the Black Roses, and with that, we're going to give guys like John Thompson modern day visionaries, guys that are going against the grain and are doing things to change, to create and evoke change, to prepare and make the world a better place because of their existence. We're going to give them their roses while they can still smell them. We're going to make sure that they know that they're appreciated, they know that they're seen, and they know that we're here and we're watching and we're inspired by their daily actions. Because of John Thompson, this world will be a better place. I say, from the bottom of my heart, rest peacefully, Coach John Thompson. My prayers are with his family. My prayers are with the Georgetown basketball family. My prayers are with the black coach family and fraternity. If you're out there and you're a black coach, chances are at some point in time you looked up to John Thompson. At some point in time you benefited, whether directly or indirectly, because of the life of John Thompson. So, it's up to us to make sure that his legacy doesn't go unspoken of. It's up to us to make sure that we, whatever leg we play in that relay race, we're taking that baton and we're taking the race that John started, and we're running and going that much further. I thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. I hate that we had to discuss John Thompson after his passing, and I had to come here to speak after his passing, and it's my mission to make sure that, moving forward, we give guys their roses while they can still smell them. But without John Thompson, there would be no more than just a recruiter. Without John Thompson, there would be, I wouldn't have a voice, and many others wouldn't have a voice. So thank you so much for all that you did. Thank you for the groundwork that you laid. Thank you for the example that you've given and you've shown me. All prayer and love.